All right, Nick. Coming in live. Top of the ninth. Reds are up 9-2. Not going to get ahead of ourselves here. Got to finish the deal. 3 outs to go. Chat. We need likes. We need reviews. We need subscribers. We need it all. Nick, how you doing?
I am doing well. How about you, Trace?
I'm doing fairly well. I also want to openly admit this is the first time I've looked at the standings in quite some time, and I'm not too pleased to see that Arizona and San Diego have decided to be the world's best baseball teams the last 10 games. So there is that. But first things first.
But we're back, baby.
If we get 3 outs, we're back. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Increase the odds by like 2%. We're back.
I don't give a damn. It's all about the feel.
Clearly. The joys of a 162-game baseball season. There we go.
That's one of them. What are you supposed to do, Nick? Go from last place in your division to second place in one series. Well, maybe not one series, but close to one series.
Yeah, I seem to remember the Cardinals had something weird about them. You know, that might have been an indicator of.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. You were trying to dunk on people about Candelario there like 2 months into the season, and I hope those people don't go find that tweet. Just saying. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. But yes, I remember what you were saying. You were saying that, this run differential thing can't hold up. Is that what you're getting at?
No. It must have been something else.
Oh, man. Ball. Oh, he's going to call it a strike. All right. Umpire packed it in. Marmol's pissed.
Yeah, he was like, I'm out of here.
Make a play. Throw the ball. He's out. Oh, let me see it again. Let me see it again. He did take forever to throw that ball, but maybe he just couldn't get a handle on it. He's got to make that play. I know I'm going to sound like a jackwagon here, but he's positioned perfectly. I mean, take longer to throw the ball. He's safe, isn't he? All right. Double play. Gosh. Man. Tommy Pham.
The old dog.
What was that? What am I seeing there? What's going on? I'm confused.
Yeah, I missed part of that.
I'm confused. I don't know. Was that who's the family? Family? He's got family in town. What is this? Is this a fan section? We got a Fernando Cruz fan section. I'm behind the times. What is this?
Is it a play on because it's Tommy Pham and Fernando Cruz? They're trying to play on the family cruise.
I'm confused, man.
Or they're Ellie De La Cruz also. They're
maybe it's all the above. This is where actually hearing the broadcast would maybe help. The chat's all over the place too. The chat's saying it's for Antone. Then there's the chat saying it's the Pham family. I'm sorry, no offense, but Tommy Pham from around here? Why is his family in Cincinnati? Is he related to Fernando Cruz somehow? I don't know. It's just there's a weird dynamic going on here.
Some shenanigans, Trace.
Yeah, well, I think this is the time in my life where I'm just going to stop trying to figure it out. Just going to give up on that. All right, we got one away, folks. We're ground ball away. Chad, I need help. They're going to keep showing these people I need help. Mouse Cop, you got me. You always get me, Mouse Cop. Just try and have fun with the chat, and there you are, just game day in it away. Nice. All right, we'll take it. 2 of them. Let's go. Let the outfielders know, especially the left fielder.
Don't let them leave town feeling good.
Right. Got to let them outfielders know how many outs there are. Oh, what a big win. Just what a big momentum win this could be.
Did you say Jake Friedel?
I have no idea. I'm not listening to the broadcast. A little context on the 15 family that whatever they were, the group that had the same shirt on. They were drawn on like full beards. I'm so baffled by that. Whoa! Jonathan India! Oh, baby! Oh, baby! Are you kidding? Are you kidding me? Jonathan India can't even believe it. We're all the way back!
And the bench to bench. Change hit in the air to deep right field. Back goes Clemente. And the save. He's done it! Get out of here, baseball! It's gone! Oh, my God! You believe it? Johnny Bench has tied it up. The Cincinnati Reds win the World Series in 4 straight. It was a sweep. In the dirt, it's a wild pitch. Here comes Foster. The Reds win the pennant. Larkins won the game. That ball is fair. Cincinnati's ahead. 2 games to none. Welcome, Joe Randa to Cincinnati. Adam Dunn has done it again. Benzinger backing and calling. And the 1990 World Championship belongs to the Cincinnati Reds. Marty, yes. This is Adam from Milwaukee. Hey, Adam, how you doing? I'm good. How are you? Good. Do you think Scott Hatterbox is a good player? Dunn up there with the bases loaded. The outfield deep and around toward right, and the 1-0 on the way to the plate. Swung on. Long drive. Right field. And this one belongs to the Reds. And a high drive. Hit back into deep right field. Junior has just knocked the door down to the 500 club. Benson's first home run is a walk-off winner. That ball had a family.
And De La Cruz is, oh my goodness, look at this kid run. My, oh my, that is a triple.
Matt McClain's first big league bomb.
Spencer Steer's first big league hit is a home run to straightaway center field. Joey Votto's done it again.
The pitch. Votto swings high in the air. Right field. Yes! He pointed to the dugout to say, I told you. That is Joey Votto's 315th career go-ahead ribby. Only Johnny Bench had more as a Red.
And I can't tell you how much it means to play in front of everyone here in Cincinnati as a Red. What a gift. What a tremendous gift. So thank you. Thank you.
I think I can speak for all of Reds country. Joey Votto, thank you.
High drive. Left center field. Racing back to the wall. Bourgeois. The Reds are National League Central Division champions. In the air, left center field. Did he? Did he? He did. He did. Reds win. Win. Line to the right field. Junior, the first Red ever with 4 home runs in a game. Breakaway and out away is Homer Bailey. Ground ball to third. Frazier gloves. Throw to first. And Homer Bailey, for the second time in his major league career, has tossed a no-hitter. Oh, gosh. Oh, my God. Are you kidding me? Holy moly, is the second player in major league history to hit 7 home runs in the first 10 games. In the air, and the Reds win. What a dream beginning to the career of Jay Bruce.
Let's go.
Let me tell you guys something. I had us dead. I had us all the way dead. I couldn't tell you how much I had thought about 2025. I already had the spreadsheet open, depth chart ready. I was like, this team is washed. They're terrible. I'm tired of watching them get shut out, waste all this great pitching, and here they come. Like a dumb old fish just getting reeled right back in after you just got caught. Here I come. I'm all the way back. This isn't a halfway in, halfway out. I am all the way in. If they let me down, that's fine. Shame on them. But I know this. If you think that I'm not going to get excited, your analytics be damned. I don't care if it's a 0.5% raised winning percent chance of getting the postseason, 2%, 10%, 50%. I could give a rat's tail. I'm all the way back in, and until you can convince me otherwise, I think there's a puncher's chance. This is Buster Douglas v. Mike Tyson. This isn't like a great chance, I'm well aware, but I've seen crazier things happen in sports. And if you're telling me that there is a possibility that this team could just get their heads out of the sand and play baseball like this, hurt me again. I'm ready for it. Nick? Now, I know you're probably going to reel us all back in and say, well, look at this, look at that. But you know what? I brought 2 fireball shots just for when perhaps I'm starting to think that we might not have a chance. This will bring me all the way back again. So, I don't know where you want to start this show, Nick, but I can't believe it. I genuinely can't believe it. I had us dead. I thought there'd be 5 viewers here in about 2 weeks because we have no chance in hell. And here we are. We just go all the way from dead last to second place. And you know what? You know what? Call me crazy. I know you probably think I'm stupid. I'm looking at the wild card standings. And you know what? Just for a sliver of a second, I seen the Brewers are losing again. And I thought, why not? Why not? We'll just take it all the way. Let's just win the Central at this point, Nick. Your thoughts?
Some games against the Brewers, so, you never know.
Well, we're due to beat them. You'd like to think we eventually, that record would come back to some semblance of an even record, but maybe not.
No, I kind of need them to lose every single series all year to the Brewers, sneak in as the 6th wild card team, play the Brewers, and then win that series in the playoffs, just to kind of give you that whole you can't predict baseball thing that I try to preach. But no, what a 4 days of Reds baseball. Obviously you lose the first 2 in Milwaukee. It was tough times, and this team has responded all year. I mean, it hasn't been like these loud, boisterous responses where, they're right back in the thick of the race. But, this team's had some really ugly stretches that have kind of felt like it was going to push them off the rails, and they somehow just keep scratching and clawing, and they're still kicking here in mid-August. So, look, the Reds are in a spot now where if they can just maintain where they're at for another couple weeks, they're going to get into September with a chance. And that really, for how the season's gone, that's really all you can ask for.
I genuinely can't believe it. Certainly there's a portion of my brain that's telling me that, hey, pump the brakes a little bit, brother. 2 weeks ago, you were sitting here just marveling at the fact that this team was so inept offensively that they couldn't find a way to win many games. Now, I don't know. I don't know if it's TJ Friedel. I don't know if the fact of the matter is that you're eventually going to get some production out of Jonathan India and Jamier Candelario. You'd like to think those are two guys coming into the season that we thought were going to be the most consistent, perhaps, players at the plate, and they've not been that. But you know what? There's still ball to be played. But again, it goes back to the same point that I've been making, and as this team has to find a way to get a little fortunate, catch a couple breaks, get lucky, and then all of a sudden you find yourself in a position with maybe 3 weeks left to play in the season, and you have a puncher's chance. And that's all we could ever ask for in Cincinnati in 2024, because there's been many times this season, as I've said before, where it just looked very bleak. And maybe, for some pessimistic people out there, perhaps they'll think that it's still very bleak, but it's more or less for me, Nick, to watch enjoyable baseball. Yes, I want to go to the postseason, but the fact of the matter is we have to watch this team every night based off of what we do, and that's fine. It becomes overwhelmingly difficult to watch this team play when you're just basically pulling teeth to score 2 runs a game, 3 runs a game. And then you go out, not only do you only score maybe 1 run or no runs a game, but then you watch your pitching staff just basically do unbelievably well, and you can't capitalize. This brand of baseball, whether they make it or not, is enjoyable to watch, and I'm here for it. As simple as that.
I mean, the Reds beat 3 pretty good pitchers the last 3 days. Sonny Gray, Eric Fetty, that was the guy the Cardinals went and gave up Tommy Edman for at the trade deadline, and then Kyle Gibson. All 3 of those guys had sub-4 ERAs, and they hit well against all of them. Fetty was maybe the one that pitched the best, but I think he still gave up 4 runs. So, right. I mean, that's pretty impressive. They're going to have to keep doing it because we'll talk about at the end, they got 3 more good pitchers coming in town this weekend.
And weirdly enough, this season, it seems as if, and again, I'm sure over the macro level of this, big numbers, it probably doesn't play out this way, but it certainly has felt at times this year that this team performs better against better pitching. It's like it's the times where you roll out and you face the Tigers, and they got a guy throwing for the second time all season that just gave up 9 runs his last outing, and then all of a sudden magically he goes 6 innings against this team, and then they go out and they face Screwball or whoever else, some Cy Young possibility, and they find a way to scratch across runs. It doesn't make any sense. Super chats, thank you for everybody supporting the show tonight. I'm going to get to those now. Please like the stream if you haven't already. Michael Davis says they were fans from his time. I did not know Tommy Pham had a fan club. I'll be honest. That was on me. Shame on me. Trace, are you ready to believe in our catcher yet? I'll tell you what. If he's going to continue to hit backside bombs, if he's continue to be the player that he was when he first came up here, and he's not some pull-hungry, pull-happy hitter, and he just does what he's supposed to do, which is just be a solid, even Steven hitter, doesn't have to have a ton of power, goes backside at will, hits the ball where it's pitched, yes, I will believe in him. Will I think that he's a cornerstone player in this franchise? I'm not going to go that far yet, but I will believe in him. Yes. Mark Fetter said the Cubs lost. I don't know if you know that, Nick, but the Cubs did lose. If you check your MLB app, you can go to scores. You can go down and check out the Cubs. They didn't win. So that's what he means by that. The Cubs lost. They had less runs than the other team, if you're keeping track.
I haven't spent a second thinking about the Cubs.
Oh, well,
last time the Reds played.
Well, I'm glad you haven't thought about them, but just letting you know the Cubs did lose. Michael Rolfe wants to let everybody know that 7 years since the Redlegs have swept the St. Louis Dirty Arch Pigeons. That's his name, not mine. He said ATOBTTR. That means, and this one belongs to the Reds. And Stacy Myers just drops a super chat, and she's got nothing to say. She don't give a damn. She's just throwing her money in there and saying, here, say whatever you want. So I'll say something for you, Stacy. Suck on it, St. Louis. How about that? Jonathan India, he's rocking some crazy V-cut neck shirt right now. What a wild look that is. I got to be honest. The sex appeal on this guy right now for all the single ladies, they are tuning into Bally Sports currently much longer than they typically do, especially when they start running the programming after the fact. That probably gets turned off relatively quickly, but that's here nor there. Your thoughts, Nick, on anything else before we jump into the box score recap presented by you?
I'm just I'm trying to keep up here. Shout out to to Rolf for stealing my my Thunder in the box score recap.
Oh man,
I already stole headlines. I mean, I can't even get it out.
Do you see this guy, India? Do you see this guy?
Oh, I turned it on to the Giants.
Okay.
Braves
Well, I mean, what a wild look he's got going on. But hey, more power to him. Fourth career multi-hit home run game. So shout out to him. Hopefully they didn't steal that either. But if you didn't, add it into the rundown.
Have that one.
Box score recap presented by Nick Kirby. Here we go.
All right, Reds taking on the St. Louis Cardinals. Reds trying to finish off a sweep at Great America Ballpark. A bullpen game for the Reds against Kyle Gibson. Emilio Pagan threw 2 scoreless innings. First time that he's gone 2 innings since April. Now, Kyle Gibson for the Cardinals retired the first 7 Reds, but then Will Benson walked with 1 out in the bottom of the third. Noelvi Marte had a really nice piece of hitting. Hit a hard hit ball to the opposite field for a single. And then Jonathan India crushed a 3-run home run to left center field. 3-0 Reds. Then with 2 outs in the inning, Tyler Stevenson crushed his 16th homer of the year to right center field. 4-0 Cincinnati. In the bottom of the 5th, Jonathan India did it again. He absolutely destroyed a ball to center field. Home run number 11 on the season. 5-0 Reds. Then with 2 outs in the bottom of the 5th, TJ Friedel joined the home run party with his 8th homer of the season. 6-0 Reds. Reds would chase Gibson from the game, end up putting up a 7th run thanks to some shaky Cardinals defense. TJ Friedel, he homered for a second time in the 7th inning on his birthday. And then Noelvi Marte singled and Ellie De La Cruz doubled him home for another run in the 8th. Reds' 9th run of the game. Reds' bullpen game worked about as well as you could have hoped. Sam Maul threw a perfect inning. Carson Spires did give up 2 runs over 2 2/3 innings, but the defense did not exactly help him out. Justin Wilson got 4 outs. Buck Farmer got 3 outs. And Fernando Cruz finished the game off. Reds now 60-61. Reds move into a tie for second place in the NL Central. First time the Reds have been within 1 game of 500 since June 8th, which was the final win of their 7-game win streak. Reds' first 3-game or more sweep since they swept the Yankees back on the July 4th weekend. First sweep they've had at Great America Ballpark since they swept the Rockies on June 3rd through 5th. And the Reds' first sweep of the Cardinals at Great American Ballpark in 8 seasons.
The deep drive of the day, boy, did we have many to choose from. But I gotta say, I'm glad that Nick Kirby picked this guy. Why? Because he put a little coin in the pocket. You know, I seen a lot of people chirping. Oh, look at Jonathan India batting leadoff, hitting 1 for 96 in his last 97 at bats. Well, got news for you. He had a line drive to center field that went 102.3 miles an hour off the bat. You could add up probably 10 of us to try to hit baseballs tonight, and they wouldn't add up to 102.3, but his did. 416 feet. That would make it 5-0. That would give the Reds win probability a whopping 2.8% chance better, making it 96%. But as we all know, that would be 100%. And the deep drive of the day is sponsored by DSC, and they are a leader in renewable commodities for biofuel production, specializing in used cooking oil collection, aggregation, and sales. Visit www.deepsouthcommodities.com for more information. And thank you to John and his team for that well-ran segment. I got to tell you, all season long, we've had nothing but stellar deep drives of the day, just like tonight. Boy, you guys remember when we went to the Arizona Complex League? We were digging around for the deep drive of the day. And here we are. We got like a plethora of them to choose from tonight. Shout out to TJ Friedel. It's his birthday. Hit 2 home runs. So, you know, some would say that should have been the deep drive of the day, but I personally don't think so. I think it should have been Jonathan India. Where do we go? What do we talk about? A couple things I want to get to here before we get into the rundown really quickly. First of all, like the chat if you haven't already. Thank you for supporting us in our show. Anthony, I tell you what, I think that's his name, but it kind of cut off, to be honest, at YouTube. He says, I'll tell you what, those dirty birds stink. FTC. I don't know what FTC stands for. The Cardinals, maybe. I'm guessing. Not sure the F. Ned Flanders. What's that?
F the Cardinals?
No, I don't think it's that. It's a kid show.
Okay.
No, and something else. Ned Flanders pops in and says, what an all-star coaching job by David Bell. He is an all-star coach, just so you know.
Thank you, Ned.
He told those guys to start hitting home runs or else you're going to get a whooping. He know just what buttons to push, except for Benson.
There it is.
Oh, man. That was good. I like that. Pepper Westwood. Benson's a great guy, too. That's what stinks about the whole thing. Pepper Westwood, the 988 offices are now open in St. Louis, Pittsburgh, Chicago, and coming soon to Milwaukee. I sure hope so. We need it. As always, 988. We got a big Striking Out the Stigma event tomorrow. We'll get to that in just a bit. But there's a lot to discuss. I want to say before I forget, because on a night like this, on a night like tonight, I'm going to forget. This game got a little hairy for a brief moment of time, right? Like you had a nice big lead, you had a fly ball to right field, you thought should have been caught off the bat, it just hung up there forever. Unfortunately, weren't able to catch it. Then you had another big pop up to left field, and again, I don't know if Benson just didn't see it off the bat. I don't know if he was playing at the warning track. I don't know what happened there, but Benson wasn't able to obviously catch his, and the wheels started to fall off a little bit. And Spires, I think it was Donovan, if I remember right. Went 3-2 with 2 on and nobody out and got a big punch out and then obviously got another punch out after that. But those were huge strikeouts by Spires. I don't want that to go unnoticed or forgotten. But before we get into all that, I guess we could talk about the guy that started the game in Emilio Pagan.
Yeah, I mean, Pagan and Sam Moll, I mean, just really kind of set the tone for this game because, you're facing a pitcher that's pitched pretty well for St. Louis all year. I thought they set up Carson Spires really well. They set up this game really well for the Reds. They put more pressure on Kyle Gibson, and this is why you consider doing a bullpen game. Is exactly tonight. And it's not always going to work this way, but I just thought it was a great decision to go with this bullpen game. Pagan, how about getting 6 outs? I did not expect him to go that deep, but I think he only threw 7 pitches or something like that in the first inning. So.
Right.
Was really efficient. And then Sam Moll, just a absolutely perfect, dominant, classic Sam Moll inning. I just thought that was worth kind of mentioning at the top because it just felt like it really set the tone for this whole game.
Got a big double play, right? I mean, anytime you can get double plays, it just helps the pitcher tremendously. It's, as Chris Welsh would like to say, a pitcher's best friend. Sam Moll is just, he's, again, I keep knocking on wood when I talk about this guy. I think Antone said it best during the broadcast. I think he just has like a funky arm slot, and along with the slider that he throws, it clearly gives guys fits. And he wasn't the sexy pickup at the deadline last year. Clearly, nobody really even probably noticed unless you're a relative diehard. The folks that obviously watch these shows and listen to the podcast and do those things, they probably knew, oh yeah, you got Sam Moll. But for the vast majority of the public, they have no probably clue where that guy came from. The fact that and I'm not going to give Nick Kroll a ton of roses for anything like that, but I just want to openly say, like, that couldn't have gone any better. And listen, Boyle, hopefully Joe Boyle pans out and it all works out. He's obviously a huge lottery ticket, but at this point, it's hard to say, no matter what happens with Boyle, the Reds won, or at least the Reds gained or had success here. A guy that's going to be here and hopefully continues to pitch in high leverage spots and does well. Buck Farmer, another guy, gets another opportunity. It's not high leverage, Nick, but anytime you pitch late into a game, that's a meaningful game to win, regardless of the score. And I know 8-2 at the time or 9-2, whatever it was when Farmer came in. I know it wasn't really that tight of a ball game, clearly, but you still got to get outs, and they've got them. So, I guess we'll roll into India. I mean, listen, hey, what are you gonna say? I know people are gonna try to crush me and be like, oh, look, you wanted this guy gone, blah 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 blah. I'm just saying, I am very thankful that Jonathan India contributed tonight, and I kind of seen it coming. I mean, at some point, Nick, this guy's a good hitter. Like, can we at least agree he's a good hitter? I'm not gonna say he's a great hitter, but he's not 1 for 26 bad. He's going to snap out of that. And the cool thing is that this team has kind of gotten some production from Espinal in his absence, if we're being fair. And then I'm hoping that he just comes roaring back for the next month and a half, and maybe he carries us to a place we didn't think we'd ever get to, which is possibly the postseason. Your thoughts on India?
Yeah, I mean, India now a 108 WRC plus. That's with the 2 homers today. So, I mean, it's a solid year from Jonathan India. I mean, especially when he's playing second base and playing at an adequate level this year. I mean, he's been a good player for the Reds. Everything I think we've said about Jonathan India still remains true.
Yes,
But
it
again,
does.
if you weren't getting some big, massive return for Jonathan India, then he's a valuable piece. And you see how much depth you need to survive a baseball season. And, you can't have enough guys that are above average hitters, even if it's not crazy high above average. You can't have too many of those guys, in your organization. So yeah, I mean, what he's done this year has been great. And like you said, I hope that he has one more hot streak. Hopefully there's a couple more guys that have a hot streak in them, because that's what could flip this season around. I mean, it's going to take playing really, really hot baseball, but we've seen this team be capable of doing that. Now, they haven't gone on a crazy long stretch. I mean, I think 7 wins in a row is the biggest. They haven't even had really like one of those, like, I don't know, 12 out of 15s or anything like
Right.
that. But they're going to need one of those probably at some point, unless the other teams just completely fall apart around them, which is also possible.
Yeah, and I don't think that's as likely as this Reds team getting hot. If you were to tell me which of the two scenarios is going to be the most likely for this team to make the postseason, I'm going to choose by a landslide. The Reds are going to get hot, and that's going to be the reason as to why they're going to make the postseason. I just have a hard time believing that the Braves are going to shuffle or fall 500. I mean, like, what would be considered the Reds not getting hot and still making the postseason? Maybe 83 wins. I'm leaning more towards the 85 wins is what it's going to probably take to get into the postseason. So that's going to require them to play pretty good baseball from here on out. Jonathan India is going to be a big part of that, and other players that we can get to here in just a second that are going to be a big part of that we've not really gotten a chance to rely on heavily this season. Friedel, I know that Friedel Stevenson's the next guy down. Friedel's probably the biggest one, in my opinion, Nick. We've not had a chance to have Friedel be consistent for this team over a long period of time. And by long, I'm asking for a month and a half, 2 months of baseball. He's unfortunately had kind of some bad luck, is what I'll call it. I don't think that all of his injuries have been, just because he's playing the game the hard way. He's got hit in the hand, right? Let's just hope and pray that Friedel is able to stay healthy, because clearly when Stevenson and Friedel are healthy and playing, I would be interested to know, and I'm sure someone out there from the stats side of things can figure this out. I bet the record when Stevenson and Friedel are both in the lineup is very good. Very good. Now, do I think it would be like that all year long? No. But it seems to me that between TJ Friedel and Tyler Stevenson, if either of those guys, or both of those guys, I should say, are in the lineup together, this team is a lot better than they have been all year long. And it just goes back to the whole middle of the diamond comment I make time and time again. Your catcher, your second baseman, shortstop, and center fielder are a big deal. And hopefully that nucleus can carry us somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, this Reds lineup, they just don't have the big superstars other than Ellie De La Cruz, who still, I mean, is like a 127 WRC plus. So he's not, that Aaron Judge, that top level. So what do you need to make up for not having like 2 or 3 star hitters? You need 9 quality hitters. And the Reds, unfortunately, have had guys out of the lineup, and it's been, 3, 4, 5, depending on where guys are hitting at the moment. So when you get TJ Friedel back, it's just another above average hitter. When you get Jonathan India playing well, it's another above average hitter. When you get Candelario, you go down the list. That's what the Reds were hoping for this year. They weren't hoping for a bunch of superstars to carry the team. They were hoping for a lineup that was deep, that had, at least 7, 8 guys that were above average. And fortunately, there was times where you only had a couple. But right now, you look at this lineup, and there's a lot more than there's negative, right? I mean,
100%.
There's so I mean, that's what I think kind of it was the vision for this team this year, and it just kind of sucks that it's taken this long to get here, and we're still not even don't have everyone, but it's a little bit, I think, clearer of a picture of what this team should have been.
Well, I would say this. The vision that they had probably with this offense and the offensive output that they were going to get is honestly damn near the opposite of what they got. They've gotten really, really good or great or superstar play over a short period of time from some of these guys. And what they've what they've not gotten that they thought they might have is basically a strong, consistent lineup night in, night out, to where if one guy or two guys struggle, someone else is going to pick them up. And that just hasn't happened. It seems like this team feeds off each other more times than not. When the going's good, it's good. But if the going gets bad, then it seems like they just can't find a way to pick each other up. Now, hopefully, like we've had enough successful offensive output games here of recent, which they have, that this will kind of build some momentum heading into the rest of the season, that we don't have too many more. We're going to have a game here and there where obviously the offense doesn't click. But we can't have stretches of baseball where we have our staff going out there giving up 2 runs or less and we don't win. And that's happened, I don't want to say far too many times this year, but it just has.
Well, and right now the lineup at least gives David Bell some opportunities to mix and match. Like, I know everyone thinks mix and matching is just right, left, but there's a lot more to it than that. I think like tonight, like David Bell liked Benson and Marte better against Kyle Gibson than he liked against the guy with a nasty sweeper and Eric Fetty the night before. So he was able to have France play on Tuesday, and now he's able to have Benson and Marte, and he had Espinal yesterday. And now that he finally has the opportunity to actually mix and match, but there was no mixing. Like earlier in there, it was who's the 9 healthy guys. Those are the guys that have to play. So now you're actually able to kind of get more beneficial matchups for you. And that's, again, what this team you were hoping to have. And look, I still think the Reds need to go out and get one more big bat this offseason.
Yes.
I don't know if there's any debate about it, but they don't need to go out and get 5 or 6 big bats. Like, they have a capable lineup. They just need to add a little bit more juice to it, and hopefully also have a little bit better luck in terms of injuries next year.
Well, if nothing else, which, this show is not more or less about 2025, but I would just say you need to add a big bat just off the premise that you're probably going to lose maybe a bat that you were hoping to have, just to have some depth. And if everything goes perfect, Nick, then sure, great. You have even the best lineup you could imagine. But the truth is, this year has proven one thing, and it's always been proven, but this year especially, is that you need depth. You need more guys than you account for. And if everything goes right, that's fine. We have guys that have options. We have guys that can play in AAA all year, and they might not like that, but that's just the way it's going to go. Jumping into the back half of this show here really quickly, you have the Game Time app. I don't know if you've downloaded it. I don't know if you have it, but you should download it just in case you're ever looking to go to a concert, or perhaps you're looking to go to the ball yard. Now, I know some of you thought, there ain't no way I'm going back down there this year. I just can't do it. But if you're thinking about it now, that's okay. You're allowed to come back. Nobody said you're not allowed to come back. Nobody's blocking the gates down there that said, hey, have you been paying attention? If you haven't been paying attention, that's fine. Just roll in there with your chest stuck out. Ask St. Louis fans what happened. They'll let you know. But download the Game Time app, and you can use the code CINCY, CINCY. You get $20 off your first purchase. And it's a nice app. We talk about it every single night. Some new people in the chat tonight, and that's all well and good. Download the app. Use the code CINCY, CINCY. You get $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply, but you can have it. I think the code lasts for, I shouldn't say this openly because I don't know for sure, but it lasts a decent amount of time. And you'll find something you're looking to go to, and you can download the Game Time app and see the nice user interface they have, and you'll have a pleasant experience. Speaking of pleasant experiences, I can tell you this right now. Folks in St. Louis are not having one. In fact, I might just say that's a fraudulent fan base. I thought they had a great fan base, Nick. I thought to myself, these guys, they support their team. They are there. They are always there. They sell out Busch Stadium, blah, 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 blah. Baseball Village, look how great it is. This is just a staple of American baseball and the fandom that comes with it. And you know what? Lo and behold, nobody's going to the games anymore. Nobody seems to be coming to Cincinnati. Used to be like the Cubs, kind of, right? Where you'd go to Great American and you'd have to fend off all these Cardinal fans. I think to myself, they're fraudulent. They're fraudulent. If they would have had to go through the hell that we've been through, I got news for you. Cardinal fans would never be breaking any records, because when the going gets tough, they quit. They quit. I guarantee you. You go check out the Cardinals attendance, not the BS attendance they put out on MLB app, okay, when it says there was 27,000 there. When we look at the crowd and there's really like 3,000. I'm talking the people that get up and go to the ball game. The St. Louis Cardinals fans are fraudulent. You can bookmark it. You can retweet it. You can do whatever you want. They are fraudulent. If they were real fans, they'd show up and watch this bum of a baseball team, but they don't do it. Watch. Check out their attendance their next game. It'll be terrible. End of rant. 988 for all those folks in St. Louis, too. If you need it, you can text it. You can call it at any time. Speaking of 988 and speaking of the Ohio Suicide Prevention Foundation, I am going to buy, listen, I don't know. I'm going to take all the super chat money that I got tonight, which is not, it's more than we deserve. And I will buy one beverage of choice of anyone that comes in and actually knows of Chatterbox Reds, right? I'm not buying the whole bar, everything. That'd be clear. But if you just come say hi, I got you a beverage, okay? Come down to Holy Grail at the Banks. It's an off day tomorrow. Don't have to miss anything. 5 to 7. Tommy Thrall is going to be there, the big Tommy Thrall, along with TJ Antone, who was in the booth tonight, and Brent Suter. 50-50 raffle, silent auction, the whole 9 yards. I'll be there. I'd love to say hi to some people. And you know what? Whatever beverage you'd like, I'll take care of it. Jonathan India helped me cover that too, by the way. Shout out to him. Don't want his name to get lost tonight. Bullpen, Spires. Oh, the Larkin comment. We're going to go there. All right. I'm ready for it. But first, before we get to that, Carson Spires.
Yeah, I like the way that really the Reds set up the game for him tonight. I thought he had some tough luck. He only gave up one hard hit ball today. Didn't walk anyone, so that was good to see. And then obviously the defense was shaky in that what was it, the 5th inning or the 6th inning. But yeah, no, I mean, I think that you have to be kind of strategic probably with how you use Spires. I don't think I'm against him ever starting again, but when you had a day like today where you had an off day the next day where you can manipulate your bullpen a little bit more, it made a lot of sense to go this route, and with the Cardinals lineup kind of the way that they structured as well. So yeah, I mean, I thought that Spires was good. I mean, how about just everyone? I mean, Spires is the only one to give up runs the whole game. I mean, Pagan, Mole, Wilson, Farmer, Cruz, all zeros. I mean, That's pretty impressive stuff. Buck Farmer now at 2.45 ERA on the year, just humming along. Vintage Buck.
Vintage Buck. Buck has figured the whole thing out. I don't know what he's figured out, but he's figured it out. I hope that it continues to stay that way. He's exceeded my expectations by a long shot, to say the least. I don't know what else there's to say about it. Spires, I thought, like I said, to start the show before I forgot, I thought that he, of all of the guys that came into the game towards, we'll call it middle innings and after, he was the one that got dealt the biggest challenge, in my opinion. I thought, and again, I'm not saying they were the easiest plays, Nick, but I thought his defense let him down a little bit. He got a lot of soft contact that turned into hits. It could have unraveled. Ellie did make a nice play, a very nice play to get an out in that inning. But again, he struck out a couple guys, and he just bounced back. If he walks that guy, 3-2, I think it was Donovan, like I said. If he walks him, loads the bases are loaded, nobody out. You just took what was a 7-0 lead at the time. I think it would have been 7. It was 7-2. Bases loaded, nobody out. It could have unraveled. Put it this way, it would have became a much more interesting game. But that was a huge punch out, and it was kind of a weird punch out too, Nick. Like it was a nice, I think it was a 2-seam fastball, or looked a fastball that had a little run on it, right down the middle. I don't know if he was looking for something else, but I'll take it. We'll take it. But I have nothing else to say about Carson Spires. He's a little bulldog, isn't he? He's got a little Graham Ashcraft in him, kind of a little chip on his shoulder.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Carson Spires. In the sake of fairness, Fernando Cruz was pretty shaky. He maybe got the luck that Spires didn't get. He gave up 4 hard hit balls, also walked a guy, but was able to get through a scoreless inning. So I wouldn't say Fernando Cruz necessarily pitched well, but I think everyone else pitched very well tonight.
Yes. All right. The Larkin comments. For those that did not hear them, I'm assuming we're discussing the comments that he made about how he got pushed by Eric Davis, and that made him be more accountable. And this team needs to be more accountable because they got guys that can play all over the place, and they should be better than what they are. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, I mean, it was all over social media today, so I felt like we probably should put it on here.
Listen, I know I've given Lark a little bit of a hard time with his broadcasting, and listen, he probably tries his best, and I think he does an admirable job of trying his best. I also think that there's something that perhaps he's got going against him, and the fact that Chris Welsh has been doing this a long time, and I think Chris Welsh kind of got, I don't want to say pushed out. This is just my opinion, and again, Chris does away games. Maybe that was his decision. I have no inside baseball knowledge of any of this, so I could be speaking wrong here. But Chris Welsh is really good at his job. So, yeah, I do come down hard on Lark sometimes from a broadcasting standpoint because I think that there's just times where he's got to be better. But the truth of the matter is this, is that comment he made had passion behind it, and I have no problem with what he said as a whole. The issue that I had was more or less that he was suggesting that this team has a lot of talent. I don't see that. I'm not trying to be rude or overly, pessimistic about this team or anything like that. But to suggest this team has a ton of talent and you're severely underestimating or they're underachieving of what they should have been, Nick, they were scheduled. Vegas had their over-under this year at 81 wins. Like, with all due respect, that was with everybody healthy. This team's had injury after injury after injury. I don't know if he meant it the way he said it, but for every superstar that he was calling it that we have a severely below average player of Major League Baseball, in my opinion. And then from there, in the middle of all that, I think we have a lot of serviceable average players. This notion that they should be way, way better than they've been, I'm not buying it. And I'm not trying to give a pass to the front office and David Bell. But I just think that's an outlandish comment to make during a broadcast. Personally, to be very clear. That's my opinion. I don't want this to go sideways and people think that I think that what he said is wrong. I think that him suggesting that they should be better is wrong.
I don't really have a problem with the comments at face value. I just wonder what the motivation for making those comments were. I mean, I think Barry Larkin's made it pretty clear that he wants to be the Reds manager.
No.
And I kind of feel like this was taking an opportunity to lobby for that because I feel, I don't know anything for certain, but I feel pretty confident that the Reds front office does not want Barry Larkin to be their manager. Based on a lot of comments that he's made, doesn't really typically align with what you're looking for in a manager in the year 2024, 2025. So when I heard those comments, that's what I thought. It was like, yep, Barry's trying to plant a seed that I want to be the Reds manager. And
I didn't take it as that, but
I'll just say this is that. But well, a lot of people have turned around and said that Barry Larkin needs to be the Reds manager because of those comments.
Oh, that's wild. Okay, I didn't see that.
Whether he meant, I think there was probably some meaning behind it. That's just my personal opinion. It definitely has fired up some of the fan base, which, could put pressure on it. I'll just say this. Barry Larkin does not prepare very well for his broadcasts as a TV analyst. Certainly do not want that guy managing a baseball team. I mean, if you can't prepare I'm serious. I'm not joking. How many times has the Reds played an opponent and he has no idea what's going on? I mean, you want that guy to manage your baseball team? I mean, he does a lot of great things. I know he works with a lot of young players and all that kind of stuff. But this guy can't even prepare to be a color analyst on TV, and you want him to manage a baseball team? No.
I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong in the sense that maybe he doesn't prepare, but maybe I would argue if you're in the Barry camp, I think the argument would be that maybe he's mailed it. Okay, there's an argument to what I'm going to say too. Maybe he's mailed it in from the standpoint that he's just not into calling games, and he was like, I thought it was going to be fun, but I don't really like it, so whatever, I'm just going to show up and do my best. I still don't think that's probably the best attitude to have in life. Not saying that's what Barry does, but it certainly seems like that at times. And you know what? I have nothing against Barry. Personally, he's a great player for this organization. I don't really love the idea of him being the manager because I just think it's a disaster waiting to happen, And I'll also say this, if you're Barry Larkin, I don't think that you want that either. You might think that you want to be a manager, But I would try to go test those waters out somewhere else first, because the one place that loves you, adores you for what you did in a baseball uniform is Cincinnati. The one place that you could probably maybe turn that around, and I can guarantee you that it will turn around. People will hate his guts one way or the other if he's the manager. Unless, to be fair, he's got them and he's holding them accountable and they're winning 95 games a year and they're going, deep into the postseason. Then it wouldn't happen.
I agree. That's also been one of my, my biggest reason why I didn't want Barry Larkin to be the manager is because of a lot of comments that he said just doesn't typically align with what I think is smart baseball and in terms of strategy today. And I know Barry Larkin, back when he was on ESPN, it was a long time ago, but he was talking about how Joey Votto needs to drive in more runs and needs to start swinging at pitches out of the strike zone with 2 outs, and just like things that typically don't align with things that I value. But the point of, if it goes sour, it's just a great way to have your legendary player kind of have a sour taste. Now, having said all that, you can't come in. If Barry Larkin was going to come in and be the Reds manager at any point over the last 20 years, coming in 2025 is about as good of a spot that you can come in. You come in with a manager that a lot of the fan base feels is drastically underachieved for the last 6 years. You have a pretty talented roster. You're going to have a rotation that's going to be as good as we've seen probably in our lifetime next year, or at least the year after that. So you are coming into a pretty good situation. So if there was ever a chance for Barry Larkin to be successful, it would be right now. I think it would be a terrible decision by the Reds. I don't think the Reds are going to do it, but if Barry puts enough pressure on them, I don't know, it could get interesting.
That's kind of wild. I did not see it that way, but maybe you might. I'm not saying you're wrong. There's a chance that you're right. And if that's the case, then best of luck to him. And I guess the positive thing for me would be maybe we get to hear Chris Welsh more, or maybe something else happens like that. That's a positive. So I won't be too upset about it if that happens. Now, if there's crazy things that are happening in a baseball game that are a little ill-prepared, then perhaps I'll be upset about it. But moving on here, I'm going to go do some supers here real quick, and then we are going to jump into Reds on MyLB, which is a very important segment because although you will not get to hear Shang and Lin updates, you will get to hear about Austin Hendrick and perhaps even maybe, I don't even know if Bubba Thompson still plays baseball anymore, but I want to hear about him and Tucker Barnhart. I think now at this point we get to hear about him. There are a ton of supers tonight, so first and foremost, thank you. Ned Flanders popping in again, said, is anyone nervous about Ellie's clowning around during pop-up fly balls caught by another player? It seems inevitable. He's going to cause an error. Ned, I will say this. I think that there's a time and place for everything. I think that there are certain pop-ups where he's not really near the play at all, like on an infield pop-up where he can do that. I will openly admit I don't love him doing that, like right as the outfielder is kind of like coming in to get it. And he's going out, and he kind of hears him call him off, so he kind of like drifts away just a smidge and then does that. I don't love it when he does it then, but I don't think it's always bad, just as I don't think it's always bad when he stood by second base waiting for the guy to get closer to tag him out. If the score is like 9-1, I don't think that's a terrible thing to do. When the score is like 2-0 or whatever it was in that game at the Trop, I think it's a bad idea. Nick, your thoughts on that, if any?
I'm sorry, I was dialed into some Reds MILB, adding some.
That's fine. Are you worried about Ellie? Are you worried about Ellie acting like he's going to catch those pop-ups when the outfielders are going to catch them? Do you think that inevitably at some point one of those outfielders will get distracted or miss a ball or anything like that?
I think the trade-off of trying to harness Ellie De La Cruz for the potential of maybe saving one of those over the next 5 years is not worth it.
Okay, so you don't want to take his childish, not childish in a bad way, but his enjoyable part of the game. Yeah,
just like what we said about the red light. The red light being take the thought out of it for Ellie.
Sure.
Someone else does it for him. You don't just let Ellie be Ellie.
It's fair. Michael Rolfe, as always, coming in with supers after supers after supers. Thank you so much, Michael. He says, for the newcomers to this show, check out CBOX Sports 10 to noon show off the bench. He's doing promos for us with supers. I mean, what a guy. OTB Daily on this channel. Trey Wingo was on the show today. Yes, he was. They were asking him some great questions. Elliot had great questions for him. Check it out. Michael, we still need to get to a game, so there's that. Looks like, okay, I see that you said that. GIF. Golly, is it GIF or GIF? I don't know. He says, love you guys. We love you too. I also love that YouTube decided they were going to mix in the fact that you can reply to people's supers now. That's nice. I'm glad to see that that's what they're doing, perhaps with all the ad money that they seem to run all the time. So that's good. Glad to see they're taking some of that coin that they're getting from everyone else and putting it back into the product. Mark Fetter says, for drinks. Thank you, Mark. I'll use it tomorrow. Michael Rolfe says, drinks. Need my Reds tickets, Trace. We can go to a game. Yes, we do. I mean, listen, you have my number. Text me, and we can go to a game. Pepper Westwood said, this all-star manager, Bell's best series ever. Ever? I don't know about that. Ever? I mean, last year they won 12 in a row, so I'm not going to forget about that.
It's incredible what happens when guys pitch and guys hit.
Yeah, when other guys do their jobs, man, David Bell does his job a lot better. That seems to be the common theme.
I mean, the opener, I think, was a good thing. Other than that, I don't even remember a single thing David Bell did positive in the series.
Well, okay, can I give him flowers? I'll give him flowers. He batted Jonathan India leadoff. He batted Jonathan India leadoff today, and there was a lot of people that didn't want that to happen. Yesterday, he played Steer. He batted Steer leadoff and played him at second base. Steer had 2 home runs. India had 2 home runs the night. So every time people complain about the lineup, it seems to always work out, which is why I kind of capitalized on that tonight. I seen it coming from a mile away. And he sat Ty France tonight, which kind of was a unique situation because Ty France had good splits against Gibson, right? And I don't want to say it worked out because maybe Ty France would have hit 3 home runs, but the Reds did score 9 runs tonight. So I don't know. I mean, maybe it is his best, not series ever, but it was a good showing by David Bell. Kudos to him.
He's back.
I don't think he's ever left, but there is that. Reds MILB, presented by Nick Kirby.
All right, we got one in progress. Louisville leading 4-2 over Omaha. The Bats would get back to 500 if they can hang on. And good stuff. Blake Dunn has 2 hits. Reese Hines has 2 hits. He was really struggling. That's good to see. And then Brooks Kriske, a perfect inning with 2 strikeouts. Everyone else is final, though, so we'll run through those. Trace, right as we were about to go on the air, I told you Chattanooga's about to sweep a doubleheader.
Oh, my gosh. Bubba Thompson is hot.
Yeah, Bubba had a hell of a day, but we got a lot to talk about. All right, so Chattanooga won game 1, 2-1 in the 7th inning, which is the 9th inning for a minor league doubleheader. Bubba Thompson singled, Bubba stole second, and they scored the game-winning run when Francisco Urbaez hit a walk-off single in the bottom of the 7th. And in that game, Rhett Lauder, absolutely fantastic. 7 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts. This was the first time he's ever pitched past the 6th inning in his professional career. So that's cool to see. Over his last 5 starts, he's got a 0.62 ERA, 27 strikeouts and 7 walks in 29 innings pitched. Now, the Lookouts actually made some really good defensive plays behind Lauder, which has not been the case most of the year. So they did help Lauder's cause a little bit, but Rhett Lauder's pitching really well, and that's great to see. Game 2, Rocket City beat Chattanooga 5-4. Chattanooga gave up 4 runs in the final 2 innings. They blow a 3-0 lead. But your combined stats for the day on the offensive side, Dominic Batelli, 1 for 5. Tyler Callahan, 2 for 7. He had a hit in each game. Bubba Thompson, 4 for 7, a double and a stolen base. So really good to see there. Unfortunately, on the pitching side, Luis May had a really tough day. Walked 2 batters, gave up 3 runs. Dayton, they won 5-2 over Fort Wayne. Dragons now 10 games over 500, and they've needed every win of late. They remain a half game behind West Michigan and the Whitecaps. They are 13-3 in their last 16 games. So Dayton's trying to keep pace with West Michigan. Cam Collier, he is red hot right now. On base 3 times, double and 2 walks. Jay Allen had a nice night, 2 for 5 with a double. Ethan O'Donnell, he's been hot as well, 2 for 5, stole a bag. Leo Balcazar, 1 for 3. The only downer right now, Hector Rodriguez 0 for 4. I think he's 0 for his last 21. I'll have to look that up later. But unfortunate news, though. Carlos Jorge was placed on the 60-day IL with a strained left thumb that will end his season. Jorge, overall, probably a disappointing season. 95 WRC plus, 12 home runs, 28 stolen bases. But he had a 392 on base percentage and a 151 WRC plus over his last 25 games. So there was a lot of hope that he was going to finish the year strong. A guy that I really liked down at Dayton. So hopefully he can get healthy and be ready for next season. Daytona, they lost 5-1 to St. Lucie. They're now 553 and 53 on the year, but they do maintain a game-and-a-half lead for a second-half playoff spot. Not a whole lot in this one. Sammy Stafora was 0 for 4. Ricardo Cabrera was 0 for 4. E. Smith Pineda 1 for 5 with a double. One guy that did have a great day, though, Yerlin Confidant, 3 for 5, hit his 9th home run of the year and had a double. And then Adam Serwinowski's had a great year, really struggled with his command, 4 walks, only made it through an inning in 2/3, gave up 4 runs. So that is your Reds MILB.
All right. For those that are in the chat right now, please, as a reminder, like the stream if you haven't already. We have a podcast that comes out each and every single morning. Nick does a good job of clipping up perhaps post-game comments along with updated Reds MILB. You can get the full slate there. You can get the podcast pretty much anywhere and everywhere you can get podcasts. But if you've not yet, please leave us a review. I don't know what dumb reason as to why these platforms have algorithms and, your reviews and your subscriptions on those matter, but they do. And as always, we appreciate your support. Rolf coming in here again, dude. This guy is just absolutely loaded. Rolf says, how the hell can people dislike Larkin's comments but adore Marty? Marty was ruthless in his desire for the Reds to win. Players and managers were collateral damage. I want Larkin to dig in on the comments. Complacency equals failure. Again, to be clear, I have no problem with the comment in and of itself as far as holding people accountable 100%. But I am not going to buy into the fact that this team is loaded with talent, okay? Because it's not. It's just not. This team's not loaded with talent. We're not the Orioles. We're not the Dodgers. We're not the Yankees. And I'm not suggesting that we can't compete on a regular basis or get to the postseason. Yes, this team can. But I thought the comments were they were stretching the truth a little bit. That's all. I have no problem with holding people accountable. Of course, if you've watched this show, you know damn well I hope people hold people accountable. Marte, he's not come up tonight a whole lot. I was real close to just saying, Nick, I'm ready to just let that guy figure it out at AAA. I'm glad to see tonight he got a couple hits. If this team continues to have success, he's going to have to continue to play relatively well to continue to get at bats. Now, again, he has looked better, and I want to reemphasize this. Marte has looked better the last week. It was a tough start, maybe for obvious reasons, but I'm all for holding people accountable. I don't think that anything should be given at the major league level. You should have to earn every single bit of it, and I don't think Larkin's comments as a whole I had a problem with. I very much had a problem with the idea that this team is loaded with talent, and they're just not living up to their capabilities because of some, lack of guidance is the way I took it. So there is that.
Marte, 2 hits, 2 hard hit balls today. Also, that one play that he almost got an out on was ridiculous.
Should have gotten out on that, to be fair.
Yeah. But his defense has been leaps and bounds since the first couple weeks. I mean, he's looked really good there defensively at third base since he kind of got, I guess, reacclimated or whatever. So his defensive improvement this year, that I don't think should go unnoticed.
Okay. I do think the ball down the line, he was perfect. He was positioned perfectly. It wasn't an easy play by any means, but I think that I'd like my third baseman to make that play, and he almost made it. To be fair, I'm not trying to crush him for that play. It was a kind of a tweener, and it was kind of in the same jest, maybe a little bit less than the play that I thought Fraley should have made. It's like and honestly, Nick, I'll put my hand up and say like that's where outs above average over a long period of time holds a little bit of weight because Fraley didn't get an error for that. You're not going to see in the box score that he made a huge mistake. But the ball's in the air for a while, man. And it's like, where's the right fielder? Why isn't that ball being caught? He dives. He over dives a little bit. Ball goes underneath his glove. He doesn't get the out. And that's, again, I'm not trying to crush Fraley for that, but I will say a good Stuart Fairchild, as much as people want to kill Stuart Fairchild probably catches that ball easily. And nobody says a word about it because he didn't have to dive for it. Simple as that. So, well, we have some rituals to get to. We have the who, what, when, where, and why, and we also have the Nicolas Cage pillow. Let's do the pillow first because I feel like we're going to we're not superstitious on this show, but we are stitious. So we're going to try to do our best to, keep it rolling here. Very nice. Very nice. Oh, that one got a little hairy. How many likes we got? We got 203 likes. That's not bad. 339 in the chat right now. 340 in the chat right now. 250 would be really cool. And again, as always, it's free to hit the like button, and we very much appreciate it. It helps it just helps the algorithms. I don't know what else you want me to tell you outside of that. All right. As far as more baseball to be played, tomorrow is an off day. Okay. As a reminder, I will be down at the Holy Grail in the Banks from 5 to 7, I believe. And it is striking out the stigma. TJ, Antone, and Brent Suter will be there. Tommy Thrall will host 50-50, silent auction. You name it. I will buy you a beverage if you make it down there. Hope to see many of you there. But tomorrow there's not a game, which means the who, what, when, where, and why is a little bit different than usual. We'll see what Nick has up his sleeve. But we still got to do it. It's part of the rundown. Who, what, when, where, and why, Nick?
All right, Reds will start a 3-game series with the Royals on Friday night. Your pitching matchups for the series. Friday, 6:40, Nick Martinez against Michael Lorenzen. Saturday, also 6:40, Nick Lodolo against Michael Wacha. And then Sunday, 1:40, Andrew Abbott against Brady Singer. This will be the first time the Royals have come to Great American Ballpark since 2020. First time with fans since 2018. And the first 3-game series at Great American Ballpark against the Royals since 2010. Royals 66-55. They hold the third AL wildcard spot. The Royals, they are 12-1 against the White Sox, 54-54 against everyone else. They're 3-5 in their last 8, 0-2-1 in their last 3 series. They are 13-15 against the NL. And of course, shortstop Bobby Witt Jr. having an incredible year. If not for Aaron Judge, he'd be the odds-on AL MVP favorite. He's currently second in the AL MVP odds with a very large lead over third place, which is Juan Soto. But as mentioned, tough series for the Reds. I mean, the Royals are a team 11 games over 500. All 3 pitchers the Reds are going to see this weekend have ERAs under 4. In fact, all 3 pitchers the Reds are running out there have ERAs below 4. I'd be curious, when's the last time that the Reds played a 3-game series in August and all 6 pitchers had an ERA under 4 that have pitched all season long?
Right, I was going to say there's got to be some certain criteria that needs to be met as far as innings go. Yes. I don't know. I don't have a clue, but I do think that's obviously pretty impressive. And it just goes to the point that this Reds team specifically, they've been very, very, very fortunate to get the type of pitching they've gotten this season, and they've been a little unfortunate from the standpoint that some of their key position players, I want to make very clear, have been out. And I think McClain and Friedel are the 2 that I speak of. Those are without question, the most important players. That if you said there was four important players on this team that you wanted to stay healthy for the entirety of the season, from the offensive side of the baseball, 2 of them have been out a significant amount of time this year. So take that for what it's worth. I'm not trying to make excuses, but that's the reality. But season's not dead. I mean, that's the beautiful thing. As I said before, I personally had it dead. But I got to be honest. Sometimes in life, you're wrong. And I'm man enough to admit it. I'm man enough to admit that I was wrong. I'm not saying that they're going to the postseason, but I am saying as a fan sometimes all you want is just a little bit of hope You just want something to look forward to the next day. It's one thing to think about the offseason. It's another thing to be like, you know what, in 2025, if this goes right and that goes right, then you know what, maybe it'll all pan out perfectly, and here we go, and we're going to make the postseason. But it's another thing to still have just a semblance of a reason to tune in. And this team, for far too long this season, has not looked that way. By God, I'm going to soak it all in. Call me a buffoon. Call me stupid. But when I tell you I'm all the way back, I'm all the way back, and you should too. Now watch this dunk.